Thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk about my teaching and about my students' work. My name is Nienhuis. I'm a lecturer in the Industrial Design Department at Auckland University of Technology. In our department, we look at three main themes: social innovation, health and well-being, and sustainable futures. As part of our sustainability teaching, we look at waste and environmental impact minimization in product design, but also at the reuse of waste material, like in the project that I'm presenting to you today. The project has taught third-year industrial design students about sustainability in a hands-on and empowering way. In a class of 30 students, around a third worked on this specific project. The project ran over an 8-week period with excellent outcomes, beyond just the design projects themselves. And that's why I'd like to talk about it. So far, the project has run only once, due to COVID lockdowns and subsequent online teaching depriving us of workshop access. I'll have more insights once I run the project again next year and the year after, but I can already discuss the elements that I think made the project successful. The challenge is to teach industrial design students about sustainability and sustainable product design in an engaging and encouraging way, with opportunities for innovative design outcomes to make the project a positive and empowering learning experience. I want students to be motivated and for them to see sustainable design in a positive light. From a student's point of view, sustainable design could be seen as difficult or limiting or rather theoretical, with complicated life cycle assessments and extensive material and systems knowledge needed. In everyday life, we're also bombarded with negative news about the state of the earth, and it will be counterproductive for students to think that the situation is hopeless. After all, the future is in their hands. I decided that a hands-on project would make for a fun experience of learning by doing, to learn about product design as well as about sustainability. I wanted to include the opportunity to come to exciting products or solutions that students could be proud of. And I wanted the students to work on projects that they could relate to and where they could see that they could make a difference. So here's the project, starting with the specific problem that we tackled. Plastics are found everywhere, mainly because they're convenient, versatile, affordable, and durable. As we all know, these extraordinary features are also responsible for the emergence of an ever-growing amount of plastic waste, disrupting the health of our planet. Consequently, it is of great importance to increase environmental awareness in our product design students and prepare them to become the change makers of the future. Our university's city campus goes through around 60,000 plastic milk bottles a year, in the cafes, offices, at events, and in the School of Hospitality. This amounts to almost 2.5 tons of HDPE plastic just from discarded milk bottles. This valuable resource is currently shipped off campus to be recycled into lower value products. I asked third-year industrial design students to design desirable, feasible, and viable products made from these discarded plastic milk bottles. The design products were to be used by university staff and/or students and were to be recycled again at the end of their life, creating a circular economy at the university. The assignment offered students the opportunity to investigate a meaningful and relatable issue, the plastic waste problem. On a side note, our university uses Anchor light-proof milk bottles made with 3 layers of HDPE plastic, the middle layer being black. This protects the milk from light, which is said to influence the flavor of milk. This mix of black and white plastic makes for a distinctive pattern or marble effect when the bottle material is melted. The aim of the project was to encourage exploration, experimentation, and intuitive making, as well as problem solving and change making. Knowledge was gained through open-ended inquiry and creative practice, and the impact of actions was made tangible by using a project-based and hands-on design approach. Students acquired skills and knowledge by doing, while simultaneously obtaining environmental awareness. The intention was to arouse curiosity and passion, to empower the students and give them confidence to be part of the solution. We talked about facts, had in-class discussions, we went on a field trip, I invited guest speakers, and we investigated principles, tools, and strategies related to design and sustainability. Students used an iterative design process, one that they were already familiar with. They started by gaining insights, researching the problem and its context, and potential users and their needs. Students then launched into generating product ideas, but were simultaneously encouraged to hands-on experiment with the milk bottle plastic. They also investigated potential manufacturing methods, processing the material on site. Students extensively explored the technical, sensory, and expressive qualities of the milk bottle plastic, which later informed their product design proposals. The aim was for them to design products that are taking full advantage of the identified properties and discovered or created qualities. Next to the material exploration, students generated scenarios and product ideas, investigating possible solutions by sketching and model making. They evaluated their concepts by testing their ideas and prototypes against criteria that they were asked to define. They then refined their most suitable concept and constructed a final physical 3D model. Students were encouraged to create innovative, change-making solutions, and with that, turning the assignment into a positive and memorable experience. I'll now show you a few of the project outcomes. Here you see some exploration of the material's properties and aesthetic, including its moldability, shredding, melting, stretching, and pressing the milk bottle plastic, taking advantage of the black and white contrast. This student in his research found that students at our university generally don't like to hang out in many of the common areas as they feel too exposed. So the final design outcome was a hanging divider screen, which creates more privacy in larger spaces and also has a positive aesthetic impact on the space. This student stayed close to the source of the identified waste, most of it used in the cafes on campus. He designed a reusable and portable coffee cup made out of the discarded milk bottles and to be sold at the university cafes. He worked out in great detail how the material was to be processed and how the cups were to be manufactured. His design is taking advantage of the moldability of the material, its insulating properties, and its never the same stone and marble-like aesthetic. Another student designed a much-needed study lamp for the university's library. The design is making use of the moldability of the plastic sheet material when heated to fold the lamp into shape. This work is from one of the most experimental students. He and a fellow student created an innovative way to make felt out of the HDPE plastic, extruding and spinning the melted plastic and then carding and felting it. While researching what products might be needed by students or staff, the student heard about noise issues in the library and applied the innovative material to alleviate this problem. The developed material was turned into desk dividers to be used when studying at the library. These have excellent acoustic properties and also help to shield students off visually. The outside frame of the dividers is, just like the felt, also made from the milk bottle plastic. The student didn't choose this project in his third year, but was so interested in it that he embarked on a master's study investigating the same theme. After thorough general research on sustainability, recycling, and circular economies, the student experimented extensively with the material to discover its properties and qualities. He specifically looked into ways of achieving interesting and pleasing surface colors and patterns by using not only the milk bottles but also their different colored lids. He also investigated material properties and how the material can be manipulated. He explored melting, bending, twisting, forming and molding, extruding, cutting, sanding, shredding, etc. In the end, his design output was a collection of stools, mainly making use of the easy meltability of the HDPE, creating sheet material and then bending those sheets into a three-dimensional shape. A type of marble effect was created and every stool is different and unique. From short-term milk bottle to long-term stool, he created a very durable product. But of course these stools can be recycled again too when they reach the end of their lifespan. I received very positive and insightful feedback from my students at the time. Many of the students indicated feeling proud of their often quite innovative outcomes and saying that they felt empowered and more confident that they can make a difference. Seeing what these students chose to do after finishing their degree, I realized that the project had likely influenced them even beyond what I had anticipated. I asked them to write down their thoughts about the project around a year after I ran it, once they had already graduated. The following slides contain some of their written feedback, and you can pause the video if you want to read the text. This student, who designed the hanging divider screens, is now designing stunning furniture and lighting made from reclaimed materials. And this student specifically sought out a job where he could have a direct positive impact on the environment. The student who designed the library divider screens went into a job designing office furniture and is keenly incorporating recycled material in his designs. One of the other students involved in the project has now started a master's degree in sustainability. And then my master's student, who was inspired by seeing other students do the project and chose to do a master's with the same theme. Of course, I will need to run more projects like this with my students for a better understanding and to see if this consistently works. But I think that the combination of the following elements have contributed to the project's success. First of all, the fact that this was a meaningful, real-world project that students could relate to, designing for and creating a circular economy at their university, directly working towards a better future. This motivated students as they felt they could work on a problem and have a tangible, positive impact. It made them feel empowered. It was also a traditional industrial design project where students learn by doing and engage in effective, problem-based and solution-oriented research and learning. They explore problems or opportunities and design products that are desirable, feasible and viable. They had already been taught a process and tools for this kind of design project, and they were now further practicing and perfecting this, applying their learnings. The design process is very practical and theories are applied in a practical way, which enhances the learning, especially for industrial design students who often enjoy learning by doing. And the industrial design process, or design thinking, is very helpful in generating novel solutions to design as well as sustainability related problems. Although design projects can include some evocative research or learning, the creative exploration and production of physical work, I purposefully made students focus on open-ended, creative and intuitive experimentation with the material. In first instance, the aim was to have students design products that make optimal use of the material's properties and aesthetic. But increasing the element of intuition also had the added benefit of promoting innovation. It can also be beneficial to foster sustainable values through craft-oriented projects, to teach students the value of manual labor and craftsmanship, and to promote producing products locally and sustainably. And of course, the learning about materials, manipulating materials, and about form, proportion, and aesthetics is best done in a hands-on, experiential manner. In addition to this, at the start of the project, students worked in small groups to do initial research on the circular economy, on the material, possible production processes, and opportunities for desirable products around the university. They then split off to work individually, but I facilitated for them to keep interacting with all their peers in the studio environment, but especially with their former group members. Although keen on their individual outcomes, they kept discussing their project with peers, and in some instances they kept collaborating, and in general very much supported and inspired each other. I think that having worked in groups in a studio environment during the initial phase of the project has helped to form and maintain peer support throughout the project. Having a smaller group of students work on this project within a larger class was also beneficial to create an encouraging environment in which students felt safe and supported. So, real-world projects, effective research or learning, evocative research or learning, and collaboration in a studio environment, I think were the key to such a successful project. Students could also choose which of the elements to focus on more, so although they touched on all of them, they could mold the project into something that suited them best, focusing more on experimentation and material exploration, or putting more emphasis on the user and human-centered design, for example. It hasn't been possible to teach this project in the same way in the last few years due to COVID-19 lockdowns and teaching in an online environment. Students didn't have access to workshops or tools or machinery, nor to certain materials. Sometimes they did not have the setting to work hands-on at all from home. And of course, collaboration in an online environment is a lot more challenging. There's less community building and there are no chance encounters either, no spontaneous inspiration or feedback. From my experience, especially the weaker students are less inspired, less motivated, and have less peer support when learning online, even when these elements are actively encouraged in the online environment. What could also make running a project like this challenging is a lack of funding in universities, partially due to COVID, making for larger classes, reduced staffing, less space, and limited workshop access. So even though COVID restrictions are lifted, it might still be harder to teach design for sustainability in this way. I'm very keen to run the project again next year and the year after, and at least it's quite likely COVID will not interfere with running it in person at the university. So I'll know more in say 6 months' time and again more in a year or so. And with that, we've come to the end of my presentation. Thank you so much for listening. I'm looking forward to getting some feedback and to discuss design and sustainability education. Please do also feel free to get in touch at any time. Thank you.